When you were coaching Dominique, I mean, I looked it up. Dominique every year playing 37, 38, one time 39 minutes a game. Was there ever a monitoring or a discussion by you or by him to limit, how much you let him get after it during the regular season in terms of preservation for the postseason? You guys ever look at it back then?
No, it wasn't a topic of discussion amongst the players. It was a badge of honor. And the badge of honor was in a lot of sports. If you were in baseball, how many complete games did you pitch if you were a pitcher? That was like a great thing.
Yeah.
If a guy had 10, 12, 15, 18 complete games during a season. And then the ball count started coming in. How many pitches had he thrown, and we got to rest him after. Now, if a guy goes 5 innings, he's a hero. If you can, pitch 5 innings of a Major League Baseball game, and then they've got 4 setup guys and closers behind them to finish out a game. Well, in basketball, I'll just give you an example, and this always stuck with me. When I was a rookie coach, we had an early exhibition game. It was either game 1 or 2 of that season against the Boston Celtics. And when the game ended, I picked up the stat sheet. I was walking out, and I'm looking at the minutes, and all of my guys were either everybody had like 22, then the next set behind them had 18, and the third set behind them had like 15 or 14, as we had distributed the minutes for exhibition season, thinking that was the way it should be done. And I looked at Boston's, and there was Larry Bird's name, and I think it said 42 minutes next to his game. This was exhibition game number 1 or 2, and I ran into Bill Fitch, who was the coach then. I said, Coach, can I just ask you a question, just curious? And he said, yeah. I said, I'm looking down here. This is like the first or second exhibition game, and I see Larry's got 42 minutes. What you thinking on that? And he said, well, Larry's going to play 44, 45 minutes every night. So he said, I'm getting him in shape for what's coming up during the season.
Wow,
that
man.
was kind of the mentality back then. That's
Yeah.
what you're going to play. You're our best player. We need you the most out on the floor. So let's get you in shape for that.
Now, obviously, that's changed, and you start to hear guys like LeBron, because he obviously made big headlines talking about how they were very top-heavy and they needed distribution of minutes. Ultimately, he can play that many minutes. It's more. This is more of a media story, or this more of what is it? What is this? Is it LeBron being a baby? What do we call this?
I don't know if I've ever seen, to be honest with you, I don't know if I've seen LeBron say he wants less minutes or he wants not to play 38 or 39. I think it's more a thing of that's what the NBA is getting to. The Joneses do it, so we better do it as well. And it's been more like the surrounding people, a coach, trying to protect his territory. I'm a head coach. I better monitor the minutes. The staff that's keeping stats, the analytics people that are saying, well, our guys have more minutes than anybody else in the league. So in trying to keep up with the other franchises, and I don't know if anybody ever knows really who is – we know who the trendsetters are, but we don't necessarily know if that makes them correct in what they're doing.
That's true.
But you kind of do it maybe because other people are doing it. But, LeBron has recognized a couple of times where he said, I'd probably be good if I had a few less minutes. But I don't know if LeBron has ever said, I only want to play 34 minutes right now. I haven't seen that, and I live in Cleveland.
I gotcha. Talking to Mike Fratello, of course, former coach, and Mike has been with NBA TV and NBA on TNT and Atlas for a while now. Good on the games, and of course, we've got the weekend, all the coverage coming up for the All-Star game, which is in New Orleans, starting tomorrow night at 8 Eastern. Should be a lot of fun. Hey, Mike, what did you think about this report? I'm not even sure if you caught it, but obviously Serge Ibaka was acquired by the Raptors, and want to get your thought on what you think that does for them in a second. But there was another report that said that the Celtics were close to acquiring Ibaka, but they didn't want to give up the kid Rozier, who's one of their backcourt, Isaiah Thomas's backup. Boy, Serge Ibaka on the Celtics, for me, could have changed a lot for Boston, who I like even without him. Take on that. Ibaka, why would the Celtics turn that down? And what are the Raptors now with Serge Ibaka?
Well, the one thing we don't know is what was the complete deal. What more were they asking for besides Rozier? We get bits and pieces sometimes on these hearsay trades. And I think teams are allowed to inquire without being ready to pull the trigger. There's two different things there. One is finalizing it, and one is just kind of asking around, like, what would you like for that guy? How much would it take from us to get that guy? And perhaps Boston realizing that They have a lot of assets to use to make a blockbuster trade. They're going to have money to use, okay, when certain guys like any Utah guy might happen to be available in the future that might want to go back and play for his college coach.
Oh, yeah.
You've got those kind of things going on, and maybe they felt that because Ibaka has had a subpar year based on the standards that they were looking back when he was enjoying his most success in Oklahoma City, that they backed off the thing and said, you know what, we're young, our key pieces are young, we're playing really good right now, and why disrupt or why have to give away a couple key pieces to get somebody who may come in here maybe is not what we thought he was from 3 years back. Not blocking the same number of shots. He's not on the offensive glass. When you look from a distance, if you're trying to pick something out and you say, I wonder what's happened to him. Maybe the invention of the jump shot for him along the baseline and people saying, you need to move back and get a little more range on your shot. Maybe that's changed what he used to do well. And, yeah, maybe he makes a few more jumpers now, but it takes away from other parts of his game. Just throwing that out for consideration.
It's a good observation, Coach. I didn't really look at it that way.
Yeah, I agree. Mike, you think there's any other teams that are going to try to make moves this year and really make a move to try to get to the finals, right? You look at the East, and we know Boston, maybe as they're constructed, can give the Cavaliers a little bit of run if they should meet them in the Eastern Conference Finals. Toronto obviously made their move with Ibaka. But you think anybody else really feels that they're close enough to try to make a big move?
Well, we know it's not a secret that Cleveland is, I don't want to use the word desperately, but there is a deadline coming up, and maybe frantically trying to come up with a big guy that can play. There were two pieces that they needed, a backup point guard and a big man to replace Anderson, who went down, and then Mo Williams, when he retired, then didn't really retire and never turned in the paperwork, and he still was stuck on a roster spot for them. So I think Dave Griffin's done a terrific job of kind of getting rid of those pieces. He got rid of Mo Williams so they could have that spot back. Now we got rid of Anderson to create another spot. They just signed Dirk Williams, who they seem to be happy with right now. This is his fifth team in 6 years. But they needed a strong body, somebody that could go out there and do some dirty work for them. And Derek Williams, in the limited games he's played, in the limited amount of days that he's been here, they're very happy with him. So I would assume they sign him to another 10-day contract. And then, based on what LeBron is saying, not that LeBron makes the decisions in the front office, but
he does.
LeBron's saying this could be longer than just a 10-day deal. They like a lot of things that he does. Well, if that's the case, I would think that they need a big man. They only have Channing Frye and Tristan Thompson. With Love now going down and being out for, they're saying, around 6 weeks because of the knee surgery, this is a small team, really small team. And it seems like Tyronn Lue, after experimenting and giving a couple of the guys, Felder and McRae and Liggins, giving them shots at playing in some of these games, it seems like he's decided, you know what, if we're going to hold off Boston, if we're going to hold off Toronto, if we're going to hold off Washington and Atlanta, we've got to win some games with these people being out. So it seems like he's turned to his veteran guys and playing the veterans. And if that's the case, then you're talking about more minutes than Richard Jefferson probably thought that he was going to play when he came out of retirement at the end of the championship season. And now, Korver is added to the team, and early on he was coming off the bench. Now, because of J.R. Smith's injury and because of Shumpert spraining his ankle, he, is playing more minutes. So Tyronn Lue's trying to juggle all these minutes, and I would have to say that that's, probably one of the teams we should be looking at that is looking to do something, as are all those other guys that are up there. Toronto, we saw, pulled the trigger yesterday, came up with Ibaka. We know that Washington, if they could do something, but you have to have the pieces to deal, or you have to have the picks to deal, like Boston has. Boston out there looking to do something. Does Boogie Cousins make sense for them? How much would they give up to get Cousins? Does Sacramento really want to give up Cousins? All those top teams look at them, maybe makes the one move that makes a difference in their team.
Mm-hmm. Mike, want to wrap it up. Want to run one more thing by you here. Mike Fratello, of course, Turner Sports analyst, former coach, and with all the All-Star coverage starting tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, NBA TV and TNT. I'm just going to throw it out this way, knowing that you know all the good and all the negative that this entails. Would you want to coach Carmelo Anthony at this stage?
Well, there's a lot of categories that covers, because if I'm a young coach just getting a job and I'm below the 500 mark and I want to kind of preserve my position and hope that I last a little bit longer in the NBA as a head coach, I might want to take Carmelo on because he might help me win a couple more games. On the other hand, if I'm a veteran coach with a good team that needs a piece, needs some scoring, let's use Washington as an example. Early in the year, Gortat comes out and says, basically, he said, our bench doesn't give us enough. We don't get any points out of our bench. And there are a couple of teams that are playoff teams right now that fall into that category. Do they have enough on the bench? What about Charlotte, who gave away, not gave away, but Jefferson leaves them, Courtney Lee leaves them, and all of a sudden, because of some injuries, they don't have the punch that they had a year ago where they were a playoff team. Could Carmelo go in and help that team get back in the playoff picture once again? So it depends who you are, where your team is right now, and what do you have to give up to get Carmelo Anthony, because he's not a long-term cure. He's a short-term cure for something that your team might need.
It's not an easy answer with him. I hear you. Mike, good stuff. We'll be watching, obviously, the NBA on TNT, which we always do, and all the All-Star stuff. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
You got it.